What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Take Time Out with Tre Mosley. I am your host, Tre Mosley. And today we have a young man that you may not know, but you should. He does a lot of on-screen, but as of late, his voiceover is starting to starting to erupt and in a good way. Um, any of you Walking Dead fans, video game wise out there, this newest iteration, you may have heard this guy. Um, Real cool dude, and I'm happy to have him on, Mr. Atticus Batacan.
Sir, Tre Mosley. My good sir, how are you? Thank you
I'm
for that
well,
wonderful
man.
introduction.
Oh man, it's I like to have people that, maybe folks who've been following voiceover for years. There's certain names that they can rattle off the top of their heads, but then we have folks that you're like, huh, you mean that was him? I didn't know. And I like to give people opportunities to get themselves out there and to let the world know that, hey, I'm doing this VO thing too.
Man, that is proper of you. Thank you so much. The opportunity is golden, and I will take it. Like that.
Oh, good, man. Oh, good.
Just like
And if
that.
you haven't heard any of his stuff, I think our guys have something ready. So if you will, let it rip.
I'm embarrassed.
Oi, Cactus Buddy!
Rubble, rubble, woohoo! Go, go, McDonald style! Yung box! Hanip! Yay!
World's always been shit. Just easier to see now. Don't matter what you did before. It's all about survival now. Better to be the hunter than be hunted, right? These people are my family. That's what it's all about.
Whatever's happening in Australia, it's here now. We're not letting anyone land. It's for your own safety. Find somewhere else.
I lied to you, VLI.
Simon. My name's Simon.
Boom.
So
The
two
three
things.
highlights. Yes.
First of all, real dope stuff.
Yes, sir.
And,
Thank you.
I ask folks this because in this business, 99% of the time we are isolated. Right now, I'm here in my home studio. You're in your home studio / closet.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always
Wipes and meshes.
literally compartmentalized from everybody else.
Literally.
So we can be our biggest critics. Not sometimes, most of the time we're our biggest critics. But when you get to see the final work done, do you kind of have a moment like, I'm not too bad. I'm all right.
I do get that. I do get it. I mean, first it's like that heartbeat just gets you. Oh, that's me. That's me. I'll go back to when I first did my first McDonald's voiceover back in 2013, and it was surreal. One, to be asked to be on to come on board and actually like just do it, and I didn't even have to audition for it. It's just the reason being that I was already doing on-camera commercials for this production company that was already handling McDonald's as a client. It was a different client that I was doing something for on screen. And 2013 was, back in the summertime. We had come back from Manila, filming the commercials. I came back and I asked them, hey, we're not going to be filming until December. So do you have anything for me? And one of the lead producers, who's a friend of mine, said, hey, you want to come on and do a McDonald's AVO? And I said, voiceover? And they said, yeah. I go, sure, where do I audition? They go like, you don't have to audition. Just come on in the studio. We're recording this thing.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And so I said, well, hey, all right, I'll come in. And so they were doing it as part of a campaign for Chicken McNuggets.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that we're going to have you do it in both English and in Tagalog, which is Filipino, our dialect.
I'm glad you told me how to properly pronounce it because I'm
gonna guess how you about to pronounce it too. Tagalog. I know everybody sees it as Tagalong.
I blame Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Tagalog.
And that's okay.
It must
That's
be
okay.
Tagalog.
That is the most common mistake.
So it's Tagalog?
Tagalog. Yeah. If I say it in proper accent, Tagalog. But when you get it that close, with the emphasis in
I have
the
a
wrong.
lot of Filipino friends I need to apologize.
As
much lumpia as they have fed me, and I've been screwing your language up. I'm so sorry.
Oh, see, here's another one. I'm going to teach you how to say lumpia correctly.
Oh God, I'm messing that up too.
Yeah, no. See, everybody does. Everybody does. They see it. They see the name. They hear it once, and they'll say lumpia.
Well, get your boy right.
You say lumpia.
Lumpia.
Lumpia. You cut off the A's. Like every time you hear an elongated sound in the word, that's wrong. You have to cut every vowel short. Lumpia. It's never lumpia. Lumpia. It's never that. It's never lumpia. It's lumpia.
They say each one teach one, and
yeah.
I have been taught today. Well, that's it for the show, y'all. Thanks, and
it's like staccato. If you're doing staccato, just like lumpia. When you hear Tagalog, it's not Tagalog. It's Tagalog. See what I mean? Just basic. That's just basic.
So I know who to come to now when I need to
call me anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Man,
you invited to the village. You invited to like the small village, and everybody's going to be eating.
Take me to Jollibee?
Yes, I'll take you there. I think they go to you now too.
I believe so.
Yeah,
I did not understand. We have totally just removed voiceover at this point. We'll come back, I promise. But real quick, I did not understand the phenomenon.
Yeah.
I remember one being erected, and they built it pretty fast. And within hours of the ribbon cutting,
it
was a line.
Oh, yeah. They have one.
It was,
we're
serpentine.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is this place?
Close to where my son lives with his mother in Redondo Beach, which is not too far away from here. They opened one right next door to an In-N-Out. And In-N-Out, everybody knows in LA, is like you can't deal with that. In-N-Out is like the staple burger, where everybody goes. That line is always. I mean, it shares space with Home Depot.
Wow.
In some places, and they will like occupy the further out holiday parking. The reserved holiday parking spot for Home Depot. And you can't get in any of those parking spots. You make the mistake of parking there when we come down to lunchtime or after hours. You ain't getting out. Ain't nobody gonna be letting you out. You're just gonna have to just wait there until everybody's not hungry anymore. But they competed with Jollibee put themselves right next door to an In-N-Out, and they were competing for lines. Everybody was like, whoa, nobody's getting in this parking lot.
On some West Side Story type stuff.
That's
it's my
right.
turf.
That's
it's
right.
my turf.
Yep. Jets and the Sharks and his bees and the Christians, doing their thing. So
all right, let us reel you back in.
Yeah, let's go.
It'll be a 3-hour show.
So yes. So yes. So we were saying that the producer told me to go in, and they said okay, you're going to do this McDonald's commercial. It was just I stepped into the booth for the very first time, officially recording something for McDonald's, and I believe they played the commercial back for me just to see just without dialogue, just to see what the actions were. And the minute I heard the ba-da-ba-ba-ba, right at the very end, I was like, wow. I almost cried. I literally almost cried. And then they gave me the script. Then they said okay, just give me some inflection in this, and read it this way, and come in for it. And then they edited it all together. They pieced it together. I was booked there for about an hour, and I did it in about 17 minutes. Wow. And so I went in there, and they said, and they called me one take Atticus for a good 3 years. So, but anyway, then the things got a little more complicated. But anyway, so they said that let's do that in a couple of takes. I'm gonna say, okay, I'll give you one take, and they did it. And they said, wow, okay, let's put it all together. 17 minutes later, they give me the last line. And they play it fades in with a dun, 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 right after the end, man. And you see the archers do this. The animation goes like that.
Come
and
on.
I sat there like this. I said, "Wow, bring me that sunshine!" And I sent it. We couldn't get a copy of the video because they have this whole thing about like marketing where like if
Yeah.
you play it back or like you put it up on your own channel on YouTube and stuff like that, you know, they'd frown upon it. But somebody snuck me a copy. And so I sent it to my family and I said, like, look at this. And they went like, oh my God, really? You're like, yeah, that's happening. And I've been working, that was 2013. I've been working for them ever since.
That's dope, man.
I'm still working for them. I recorded 7 spots for them about a week and a half ago.
See, folks, it pays to be nice to your clients.
That's right.
Do good, quick work.
Be nice.
And they'll come back to you.
Yeah, that's right.
So being a Filipino actor,
Yes.
you know, most people know Eric Balza comes to mind as far as voiceover.
Yes.
There's starting to be this infusion of more of you. Talk about how that feels as a Filipino American actor, not named Eric Bauza, that you're starting to get your opportunities as well. I mean, no shout out to Eric, because you that dude, you know, Marvin the Martian is my guy. But I'm just saying, you know, as someone who is now coming, you know, up with him, you know, how does that feel to be considered as well?
Yeah, in short, we're taking over. No, I'm just kidding. It's liberating. It's absolutely liberating because you didn't really know much about Filipinos, you know, until probably the last, I'd say, you know, until, you know, who helped us get on the map around here. You know, let's think about like way back. It's like let's go like to late 80s or like early 90s. Lea Salonga hit the Broadway, right, and started doing her thing as Miss Saigon.
Miss Saigon,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so she was the leading actress in that show, and people went like, "Who is she? Or where's she from? Oh, she's Filipino." Okay, and then people started like, "Oh yeah, she's from the same country as Imelda Marcos, who had the shoes, and you know this and that, you know all that other stuff."
Right.
And yeah, and then we have, you know, now we got Joe Coy who's doing his thing. We got other people like we have sports. We got Manny Pacquiao, right? Yeah. So hey, all right. There's another one. Everybody says Manny Pacquiao. It's Manny Pacquiao. So,
I'm telling you, we are getting a lesson today.
We're getting a lesson today. That's all right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we got dropping the knowledge at the same time. But
there you go.
You know, we got Dante Basco who played Rufio in
That's
in
my
Hood,
dude, man.
right?
Yeah.
And he's in what? He's in Airbender. He's Last Airbender, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we see a lot more of us now coming into the mainstream, which is nice. And it's a dream come true for me, you know, and thinking about the time when I just thought about like, not just, you know, in voiceover and in film, TV and in commercials. I said this to my parents, you know, I said this to my parents a long time ago. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And they just, of course, you know, they look at me like, you're never going to do this. That's not going to, that doesn't happen. You have to be very serious about this. And you have to talk to the right people. And, you know, they gave me every single cliche that there was about like not making it. And it just fueled me even more to make it. You know, I went and joined up in '98. I did an intensive acting training school in San Jose, California, the American Musical Theater Artists Institute, because I'd been doing a lot of musical theater and theater prior to me joining up with that specialized school. And it just helped bring me forward to a lot and bring me more familiar with a lot of other things that had to do with acting. And there was an acting for the camera class, and there was a master class that was being held by Mr. Rooney from Ferris Bueller.
Really?
No, yeah, no joke. He came in and held a master class, and we did scene work for him. They picked out some really random scene that starred Sean Young and some other guy who was like Greek or something.
Wow.
And so they gave me the script for that, and I read.
Wait, you were in a class with Sean Young?
No.
I'm like,
I wish I was. I tell you, back then she was still like, woo, yeah, that would have been great.
Hey now.
Yeah. But anyway, there was the script that they gave me to read off of starred Sean Young. It was a very, I can't even remember the name of it, but even the dialogue itself needed some help. But they gave it to me anyway. It was some guy who was talking to Sean Young's character, trying to get her to sleep with him. But he was this like Greek guy saying like, I'm gonna make love to you like a wolf or something like that. Oh wow! And I did what I could with that script, and Mr. Rooney, you know, looks at me and goes like, I think you did very well with that script for what the dialogue was. I think you did fairly well. And there was a daily acting for the camera class. That was the master class. And my instructor for the acting for the camera was Gary Martinez. And he kept telling me, he's like, you have to keep going. Just keep going. And to whom I still correspond with on Facebook. He says, anytime I have a win, he's like, good job, amigo. He's like, you are just doing so great, darling. And just, he always says little things like that to me. I was like, it's because of you, sensei. Oh, yeah. I just do all of those little things for him because he did bring me here. He brought me to the promised land, like all the helpful hints that he gave me for acting for commercial versus acting for TV versus acting for film, and CD-ROM. Back then when he was teaching stuff for CD-ROM, because he had done Rebel Alliance. He was one of the Imperial Guards, for Rebel Alliance. And I was like, all right. So, from that point and thinking that here I am training to be an actor, this is really going to go somewhere. After I had trained there, I got the lead role as Bernardo in West Side Story in Marin, which was like a huge 4,500 seater. And, and that started the whole thinking of like, I got to take this and bring it to LA. I got to go to LA and I got to make it. My friend of mine and I who were bartending at the same time, we said, look, why don't we just pack it up and go? Just go. Let's just see if we can make it.
Wait, so were you were the real true to life, that bartender guy? Yeah, I'm trying to be an actor.
Yeah. We really were. We both were. He already had joined up with an agent who was sending him out, right? And he actually helped me out. He joined the union early, and he said, like, look, there's a client who says they want me to be a part of this thing. I can't do it because I'm union now. I asked them if I could suggest some, if I could recommend, and he said, so I recommended my brher, and I'm recommending you. I said, oh. That was sweet. Thank you so much for that. That was really nice. And I auditioned for them and they hired me that day. And so, it was one of those, it was one of those schools that they had, Heal Business College, those, especially because I played a student. I wasn't the real student or anything like that. And
we will help you get the certification that you need.
Yeah. Are you ready for the next level? That kind of thing. So they got me on there, and that was my claim to fame around the Bay Area at the time. They said, I saw you this morning, before Jerry Springer. I was like, oh, get the heck out of here. I'm on day TV, and that just kind of that started snowballing. And then I moved down after getting married in the Bay Area, moved down to LA, did theater for a while. And then there was an agent, who scoped us out at a show and then wanted to represent me and my wife at the time. And I did a few things for him. I did a PSA. I did an extra for Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. One of the guys watching the car races and everything. I'll point it out to you someday.
You're like, yeah, that's
exactly what it was. I said, don't blink. There I am. Walking up to a wrecked car going like this. But then then this whole thing happened where, my marriage ended and I had to hang acting up for a while, raising my son and all this other stuff. And, my wife at the time was not very supportive of continuing with acting and performing because it wasn't practical.
Yeah.
And so I had to say goodbye to that for a while. And after some time, the divorce happened and I went on my own and I had to support my son somehow. And I was already working for UCLA as a development coordinator and it wasn't paying a lot. So I had to find a way to try and make more money. And I had to so I went and revisited acting again. But what I did see was an ad for some smartphone for voiceover. So I went in there and I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try and do this and see if this goes anywhere. And they wanted to hear me. They actually wanted to listen to me. They wanted me to go into the booth and do a few lines and this and that. They said, okay, you're here for voiceover, but you know what? We're kind of missing some applicants or some people who we could use for on camera. Would you mind acting on camera for us too? Well, shifting gears, they actually hired me to be on camera for them instead of doing the voiceover part. Huh. So it kind of worked both ways. And that same company is the same. That same company is the one who hired me for the McDonald stuff later on.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
making the connection now.
There was a
Gotcha.
connection there, yeah. So that's kind of then my acting career and my voiceover career kind of like we're like doing this all the way to 10 years, of a 10-year course. We were doing that. So, I mean, I can't complain. We're busy on both ends, and we try, with being who I am and what I am in the industry, it's just purely representing, I'm representing Asian, representing Filipinos, and it's a really wonderful feeling knowing that I'm helping that along, and I can't be happier, And I always tell myself this. I told my son too, if this ever ends, I'll be happy, because I can never look 10 years back and say, look what I did. I can never
Right.
look back 10 years past 2013 and say, I never did that. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing, and I like I like hearing stories like this because there are people in the industry who voiceover is all they wanted to do. It's
Yes.
like I studied with this person, I did this, I did this. So VO was always the intended goal.
Mhm.
And then for you to go down one path and all of a sudden there's I wouldn't even say a detour. It's more or less a fork in the road. But
Yes,
even that
exactly.
fork in the road, it intersected and
Yeah.
brought you back together.
I
So that's
was
real
hop,
cool.
skip, and jump on one side, then hop,
Yeah,
skip, jump to the other side. It was a playful little path on two different paths.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Um, so speaking of you know, heritage and lineage,
Yes.
is the little one interested in the family business?
Well, the youngest is 2, and he hears me. And of course, anytime story time comes along, that's a fun thing for me to do because I don't just read the story. Of course, I'm doing every character in every different
Of
voice,
course.
right? Because that's what we do, And I'm as an actor and as a voice actor, you're pretty much doing yourself a disservice and disrespecting yourself by not doing that. And of course, you provide the fun for the kids. The kids are just, they're dying laughing, or like they'll ask for a different voice, or can you do, Thomas the Tank Engine, or can you do Diesel and Thomas the Tank Engine? Can you do Tinkerbell? Can you do, and of course I'll do my best. I do my best every time, or I'll make different adjustments here and there, and they love
Yeah.
that. So the youngest hears me doing all that stuff, and he laughs. And then here's my daughter, who's 5 years old, whom I've actually recorded when I put together a small scene for the Joker. I just did just a little project for myself. This is because of Damon Allums, a mutual friend of ours.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who had his own take on the Batman project, where he hired me to be his Joker, and from that birthed this idea where I created my own scene where he meets up with some mobster at the playground to discuss things, and there's a mom and a little daughter who come in and start using the swing, and it's irritating the heck out of the Joker, and he goes over and deals with that. So I recorded my wife and my daughter. My daughter was, I think, 2.5 at the time. And so you just have her going, "Mommy," and and doing those. And I remind her, like, you already did this. You did this with me, and she goes, "I did?" Like, "Yeah, you did." Let me play it back for her and stuff. She was like, "Oh, that's me." I'm like, "Yeah, see, that's you."
Already. You're booked
You
already.
already booked. Yeah. I had to pay you. I had to pay you in stuffed toys and stuff.
Yeah, here's some M&Ms or something.
Yeah. And my son, my eldest son, who is now 17, on the verge of turning 18, and he is the one who has shown a lot more interest. He's shown interest on being on this mic with his music. I showed him how to beatbox way back then. Even when he was 3 years old, I was showing him how to do something, and he finally got into it. And then he started to actually put raps together, put beats together, and
Okay.
yeah. And so he's definitely following in those footsteps, going in a different direction, but I'm proud of him because he's discovered this about him, that he loves being in the same space as I do,
Yeah.
and creating. And the whole aspect of creating something new and fresh, and it's his, and he gets to share it with everybody else, and everybody gets to say something about it. that's something that's fulfilling to me as a father. So
That's cool. Found his own path and was
that's
like,
right.
Dad, I dig what you're doing, but
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got my own little
That's
thing I'm
right.
doing over here.
Yep.
Nah,
I
that's
I
cool.
threw it at him a few times. I said, "Listen, look, you can do this." He goes, "I already said I want to do this on the side." I'm like, "Oh, you did you? I didn't hear you say it. I didn't hear you say it." And he said, like, "Yeah, no, I might want to do a little bit of it." I'm like, "Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good."
That's
And
cool.
Damon actually used him as his Robin
Really?
on the Batman project. Yes, he
Okay.
did a Tim Drake take on
Nice.
things, and he did a pretty good job, I must say.
Well,
I was even directing him in here. I'm saying, okay, listen, just bring your voice down a little bit more, be a little more clear. Let's bring the diction out, and don't sell it too much, be a little more casual, I just gave him his little tidbits here and there.
look at
So,
you, like father, like son, and
hey,
stuff.
we got to do the thing. Then
That's cool.
he's going to be leaving me in about 6 months, so I better get my licks in where I can.
Off to college.
Off to college. I don't know where he's going yet. He's hoping to go to UW. He's got Stanford on the mind. Lord help me, But if he goes, that's his path that he's taken. It's his journey, and so I'm hoping that he keeps that creative mind, pumping out like whatever he's got in there.
Well, if he goes to University of Washington, that Pacific Northwest area,
yeah,
a lot of musicians
yes,
come from up there, so he'll be right at home.
yeah, birth of grunge. I mean, come on,
Yeah,
come on,
absolutely. So let's talk Walking Dead.
Yes, sure, let's do it.
I have played the game, and it wasn't until I saw not only your video, your interview with Randy.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I did, and I had one of those I had no idea it was him moments. Because usually, when folks are in a game, and I know with this, you guys had to be real hush about it. And
Yeah.
then it was like, I can finally reveal we always do the big reveal.
Right.
And I'm like, wait, for real?
Yeah.
Yo. So you got to give me the scoop, man. I mean, of course
Sure.
you had to audition and all of that.
Yeah.
But playing an iconic character, because on screen, Daryl is one of the most beloved characters in this whole franchise.
No pressure here. No pressure.
Right. And you get the opportunity to play him.
Yes.
Walk us through the mindset of trying to, at least your version, to create the Daryl that's in the game now.
Well, so okay, I'll go back a little bit because I'm a fan of the comic book first. Okay. I was a fan of the comic book, and I was a fan. Then I became a fan of the show. It was just so funny because I had just finished reading the first 3. Because I didn't pick up the individual comics. I started reading the graphic novels, and I like it that way better because who has the time to collect all that at the same time. Yeah. And I was raising my son at the same time, so I had the graphic novels. I was reading them. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really good. This is really good stuff. And then I heard that they made a TV show out of it, and so this is 2010, and this is when I'm freshly living in my new apartment by myself. Got nobody tell me like, no, we're not watching that today. We're not watching that today. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. When are we gonna watch it? So I can watch anything I want.
That's
Flipped it on, and I went, oh man, they did a show, and it's actually quite good. It's really good. And like even if they're veering a little bit away from some of the source material stuff, it was fine. I was like, it's forgivable, this and that. And then walks in this one cat with a crossbow. Trash, just talking like he owns the place. He's rude and this and that. And then lo and behold, he's not a part of the comic book. I went, what is this? Why is he not a part of the comic book?
Oh, the purists were not happy.
That's right. So I was like, okay, hold on now. And I love comic books. I've always been a collector. I was always that kind of guy who was always a believer in the source material. But I gave it a chance, and I said like, oh, they're doing this. They're keeping him. And I heard, and I'd read like here and there that he wasn't supposed to last for more than 1 or 2 episodes. They were supposed to kill him off. But the fans started really, really being very receptive to him. especially the
Mhm.
women.
Of course.
The ladies were all over, man.
He's so rough and rugged, and
He is garden variety Axl Rose, and
wow, I haven't heard that one.
yeah. So he just, he became everybody's little sweetheart, and
Yeah,
I just did not want to like this guy. I did not want to like him. But then he started dropping little quotes, some off the cuff quotes and very random ones. And I'm like, where did you come up with that? Right? How much of that is improv? Right? Even like his first, and I did this for Randy and Gillian, and they, I did this in the booth actually when I was recording for him, where I told Gillian, and when she told me that AMC was actually on the call while watching the session the entire time, and I had no idea that was going on.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all. I'm glad she told me at the end of the session, because then everything just went, oh, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. But yeah, they were telling me that they were asking, like, what's one of your favorite quotes that he does? And I said, well, he does this one quote. It's like, I think he's 3 lines in, from his introduction, where he just leans into Dale, who wears the floppy hat. He's the old guy who wears the floppy hat. And he says this obscure reference. He makes an obscure reference to Ungolden Pond, starring Peter Fonda.
Yeah, Peter Fonda and
you know it.
Yeah.
You totally know it. So, like, yeah, he's like, Dale says something to him, like, after he's kicking this zombie's head. He's like, he goes like, yeah, I wouldn't have lost this deal if it wasn't for the stupid son of a, he's kicking the zombie's head in and everything. And then Dale goes, well, that's not necessary. He's like, what do you know about it, old man? Yeah, you can take that stupid hat and go back to Ungolden Pond, and he says that. And I went, wait a minute. So is he and Merle, did they used to cuddle up on the couch together, watch Ungolden Pond with their nasty dad and, like, absent mom and whatever? Like, seriously? That's what you guys are talking about. So wow. When he did stuff like that, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, there's a little bit more to this dude. So I started paying attention. And when we could finally stream and binge watch, when that became a thing,
yeah,
I would, because my commutes to UCLA from Long Beach are, that's a long ways.
That's
and
45 minutes, man.
No, that is not 45 minutes.
It's
That's about an hour.
Oh, wow.
An hour and 10. That's a good day.
Oh, okay.
And that's on a good day with traffic. If there's no traffic, I would probably get there in about half an hour, 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Right. That's in 40 minutes. But, like, say if, like, the president was in town, I'm probably not going to see A to B within about 2 hours. So it's quite a thing.
Yeah, I've taken that drive. LA traffic period is terrible.
It's actually worse in the Bay Area now.
I pray for y'all. I don't see how y'all do it.
We've been dealing with it for a long time. But the deal, like, just when I had to make that commute every day, 5 days a week.
Sure.
Especially when my wife wasn't in the car with me, and we work in the same office, so it's like, if she wasn't doing the carpool with me, it would take a lot longer. So on those days when we're not carpooling, I had my phone, I had streaming service, I had Netflix. I turn on Walking Dead because it's just mindless. I already know it. I would do the reruns,
You're not saying that you would be driving and watching the
No, I'd be listening.
I'm just saying.
I have it playing in the background, and plus, anytime that you drive in this traffic, you're not really driving. You're sitting.
You are sitting.
So I may be glancing.
You had time, yeah.
I'd probably glance a couple times.
Talking to you, 405.
That's right. And it is the 405. From Long Beach to West LA, that 405 is my friend and my enemy.
That's why I had to start flying out instead of driving there.
Yeah.
Because
make sure you fly into the right airport.
I always flew into Burbank.
Oh, you did? Okay, well, that's good. That's exactly
I always
where
flew into Burbank.
That's where you need to be.
Because driving there, and I love the freedom of having my car and I can go around.
Yeah.
But, man.
Yeah, no.
I would leave like 7 a.m, and still by the time I got there around 10 or 11, I'm like, why don't you have somewhere to go? Why are we just sitting here?
That's right. We got, you can plan it out as much as you can, but things are just going to go awry, When I used to do in-person auditions, I'd have to plan that out like big time. I would
You
always
have
look at the
to.
traffic,
Yeah.
like see how traffic's behaving. Because if you had to go shift from like one end of town to the other end to if it's a double day audition day, oh snap! You better be sure that you're on point. You better be sure that because they ain't gonna listen like, oh, hit traffic. Yeah, everybody hits traffic. Next, that kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's why when I have sessions out there, I try to find a hotel that is within 2 miles of the studio.
yeah,
And that happened. I'll tell you the story real quick. So I had a session I was doing. Matter of fact, this was for Starfield.
yeah.
And I said, I can get a hotel that's like
So jealous of you. So jealous. God, so jealous of you.
like 2 miles away. And even then, I'm like, why am I still sitting here? 10 minutes has gone by. And I'm like, really? But it's 2 miles away.
Yeah.
So,
See?
so let me ask you.
That's
Yeah,
an episode and a half of Walking Dead right there.
there you go.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Has the Daryl heard you, and has he given you the thumbs up? Or
He hasn't. He's too busy. He's too busy. But when the audition notice came through, it said that the actor is not available for this role. He's not available to voice his own character, which is why they started doing a search.
Sure.
And of course, I'm thinking, all right, well, I'll go back a little bit. They sent out the first set of auditions, which was the governor, Rick, and Shane. And I said that, okay, I can do good governor. I can do a little bit of Rick. I'm a little bit more comfortable with Shane. Sent in my audition for Shane. That didn't get through. But I kept telling myself, if only they had an audition for Daryl, I could do a good Daryl, And nothing. Life just goes by. 2 weeks later, boom! In my inbox, I see the golden words, Daryl Dixon. I went, oh my gosh, there it is, right? So I go ahead and I block out the entire day. I tell my wife, you take the kids out, take them out for an hour and a half. I need the booth. I need to be in here. I need to record this because this is something that I really want. And she goes, okay, no problem. So I went ahead and did this. I think I was in here for like 2.5 hours, getting every good take, it's as much as possible to get the best take for every single line.
Yeah.
And because I just really wanted to get it all like nice and clean. I wanted every take was clean. Sent it in. Didn't hear anything for a little bit. Then I got back some word, and they said, okay. My agent said like, okay, here, just see what they're saying here. And I said, all right. They said like, look, you're close. You're close to this, but some part of it you sound like you're joking. I was like, this is a callback. This is a callback, really? I was like, okay, that's fine. All right, I'll record it again. So I went ahead and recorded it again, sent it out. Didn't hear. It was a Friday. It was a Friday when I sent it out, and there you are, just waiting. Monday comes, nothing. Tuesday comes, nothing. So you let it go. You mean you let it go on Friday anyway, right? You just got to try and let it go. Absolutely. But in the back of your head, you're like, did I get it? And Wednesday morning at 5:40 a.m.
Oh, he remembers.
My phone buzzes, right? My phone buzzes, and I'm like, my gosh, that is, and I thought it was my alarm at first, and I said, like, that's too early. There's no sun out yet, right? So I grabbed my phone, and I can see it. I don't have my glasses on. I can see partly like, oh, it's from my agent, And so I put my glasses on, and I read it, booked, and I went, my eyes just went like this.
Of course.
And then I open up the email, and there it is, booked Daryl Dixon. I was like, And my wife is asleep next to me. My baby's asleep in the crib. My daughter's still asleep. I've got to hold this in until like at least 6:45 when I have to get my daughter.
You can't holler. You can't scream.
I can't do nothing. And just sitting there just holding it all in. And like finally, like I get my daughter up at 6:45. I'm supposed to get her up at 7. I get her up at 6:45, start getting all ready for school, and then my wife walks in and stuff like that. And I just hand her the phone like that. And then she reads it. She's like, I go, yeah, I got it. And that was surreal. That was just that was another one of those moments like da 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 da. That's like it's Daryl Dixon's you.
How long were your sessions?
The session was supposed to be for 4 hours, and we were out in 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
It was a day. It was just a day. And it was just for the day. And in at Dave and Dave. And it was just
okay.
Yeah. It was a nice visit. And Gillian was there, and she was wonderful to work with. And then she gave me that nice little bonus at the end. She goes like, Atticus. I go, yeah, come on in here. She's like, good job, by the way. I'm like, thanks, Gillian. Thanks. And she goes, hey, Atticus. Yes, AMC. I went, huh? Like AMC. And there's 5 people talking to me at the same time. Hey, Atticus. Hey, that was really great. I'm going to save that one for my ringtone. I was like, oh, okay. Hey, that's great. That's
wow.
Great. Yeah. So little things here and there. They were just giving me like some good feedback. And, that almost instantly, like at one point, had that imposter syndrome feeling. And Gillian assured me, she goes like, nobody's going to think this. Don't worry. I'm like, because I was nervous because I saw that there were some of the original actors had actually come back to voice their characters.
Yeah.
Beth, Lori, and I believe Carl had come back to voice their and Iron, T-Dog. Came back and voiced his character as well. And so I just sat there going like, gosh, they're going to think I'm like some hack. They go, no, they're not going to think that. I promise you. I was like, okay. All right. Well, that gave me the boost of confidence that I needed to know that like, all right, I'm capable, And again, like we revisit that whole thing. I'm like, am I supposed to be here? Yes, I am.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you ever want to remove any imposter syndrome from you, go look at the Deborah Wilson episode.
Yeah.
She has a message for everyone who feels like they have imposter syndrome.
Ooh, okay.
And she was preaching to me too, because I'm like, okay, sis, you ain't got to come at me like that. You really don't have to talk to me. You talk to me nice. You don't have to talk to me like that. But yeah, there's a message in there. So
she came at you like Teddy Pendergrass and turn them off.
It's basically, yeah, it was rough.
Wow.
After the interview,
yeah,
I'm like, nah, I asked her that question, for the masses, but I kind of felt it too. Like,
yeah,
you ain't got to talk to me like that. It'll hit you. It'll really like get you in the.
I'm game for it. I want to check it out
in the feels. I would like to play a game.
Sure. I like games.
Since we're talking about Daryl.
Yes, of course.
And he is such I would say in the last 20 years, he's become one of the most iconic characters on television.
Yeah, I would say so. He's very recognizable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I saw you do a variation of this again with Randy and Gillian.
Yes.
Do not call her Jillian.
No.
It takes
Gillian.
a while to learn, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So let's say Daryl and I were going to McDonald's. Daryl was driving, and he places an order. How would that go?
I think.
Matter of fact, let's take McDonald's out of it.
Okay.
Daryl's with you and me.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, ever heard this place called Jollibee? And he goes to Jollibee.
And he says,
is that supposed to be from the Philippines or something? Is that Filipino?
Yeah, Filipino. It is, man. It's great food. You'll love it.
Oh, what kind of food is it? Is it
a little bit of everything?
Talking about spaghetti?
No.
Huh? Because I ain't eating spaghetti. I'm not eating spaghetti. I mean, I'm a burger kind of guy.
Have you heard of lumpia?
How'd you pronounce that?
Lumpia.
Because I got Filipino friends. I know how to pronounce it correctly. If you haven't noticed, I've been traveling a lot lately, too.
And scene.
That's right. That is right.
I tell you, you give me a month, I'm gonna be talking with the best of them.
You're gonna be. Then you got to be calling me in between. So
be like, where
gotta advise you.
From? Were you in the Navy? No. Because as stories and rumors go,
Yeah.
like, yeah, your dad was in the military. He wasn't. I mean, he was, but not the Navy.
Oh man.
So what's next on the horizon for you? Are there any projects? Not even any projects. I know that you can do voices pretty good as far as mimicking and becoming other characters. What are some projects that, if someone gave you a call and said, "Hey, what do you want to do? Like, what would you love to be a part of?" And I know
Oh,
that most people say, well, anything they throw at me, but I'm sure there's something that hits you here that
yeah.
you want to be a part of.
Oh man, if I could get a call from DreamWorks or anybody who handles the animation for The Legend of Vox Machina, to be
Oh,
a part of that group. I mean, that core group, I know they're tight. I know those guys are tight, but just being a part of that group, it just sounds like they're having so much fun doing their stuff,
yeah.
Like they have such this great connection, and you can tell that they're firing off of with each other, even if they're not in the booth at the same time with each other. I know
Mhm.
they're not, but they know each other's movements. And to be a part of a group like that, where you're able to play and where it almost doesn't, where it doesn't, I mean, you always want to feel this way, where you working but it doesn't feel like work because you're playing so much. you
Yeah.
know Being a part of something like that would be fantastic. It'll be an incredible experience for anybody in the voiceover industry, for anybody to actually experience that type of union, where you guys
Mhm.
come together every time and say like, oh, all right, we're gonna do this again. And you think about it like when you're a regular, right? When you become a regular for a show, and you just know each other's strengths and you can play off of that, and you know that you can be funny and be serious, and you got a great group of people who feel exactly the same way and can adjust the way that they can with each other. um, I would love to be a part of that kind of project, to be a part of that type of team, because it just seems like that would be a dream. That would be a dream come true. And of course, one of my biggest taglines in life, for especially with this life that I'm living right now, is dream silly, dream big. You dream of the silliest
Hey,
things. Dream of the silliest things. Like one of my silliest dreams back then was to be an actor,
and look at you now.
and look at me now. So
Oh,
you can't phase that. So that's something
no.
that that's something that people will always just throw back at you. Like, and when you know that you become a part of something, and people go, "Oh my gosh, you were part of that?" You're like, "Yeah," and I got there. This one thing that came through the other day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, an opportunity! There's an opportunity. I may not have gotten it, but there's a chance. There's a big chance, just like anybody's, that you can be a part of that same thing." And it's a
Absolutely.
huge franchise, and you're like, "Okay, I'm up for it." And just like The Walking Dead, like, I'm a fan of it. Everybody knows it. I would love to be a part of it one day.
Sure.
Boom, and there you go.
And
You get
here you are.
you gave it your deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's put a pin in this and
Yes.
wrap it up and put a nice little pretty bow on it. Um, I ask all my guests when they appear, when the camera's off and the mics are turned off and
Yeah.
the booth is a closet again.
Yes.
How would one Mr. Atticus Batacan take time out for himself?
Oh man, that's being a family man. It's like I'm just nuts about my kids. I am nuts about my wife, and like, when I turn it off, I turned it off. I talk about my wins. I talk about what I was working on for like 5 minutes, and I'm done. Because I want to get back to living my life with them. They are the ones who fuel my energy every day. They keep me young. You told me that I look like I'm a young man, but I'm in my 50s. So, like,
Ah,
when
I will be 50 this year, so
well, congratulations.
yes.
We can start exploring the AARP benefits together. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't happen until 55, but they did send me an envelope.
No,
'Cause
I got one.
You got one?
I got one at 48 and at 49.
Oh,
And I heard
wow.
They said you can actually like join at like 35.
Oh, that's true. I do know
So-
somebody who did join at 35.
I'm just saying, I know somebody who joined before they was 50, but I ain't gonna call no name.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. So now I'll turn 51 this year. So in 4 more years, I'll start exploring and start thinking about that menu, that special side of the menu, like at Denny's. And,
Hey, now.
I know. But yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'm a family man through and through. And maybe pop on video games. I got all 3 like consoles, and so it's just I take my pick.
We have to run something one time.
Oh,
man.
let's do it. Every time, like, I am a Bethesda fan. I am I do like online stuff too. So if you ever want to find me, I'll be on there. I'm on Switch. I'm on Xbox. I'm on, I got a Series X and I got PS5. So
Yeah, because here so my studio is part studio, but once I turn all of this off,
yeah,
what you don't see on this side,
yeah.
I got my 65-inch right here.
Oh,
The Xbox X right here, the PS5 right there, and
where are the arcade boxes though? Where are the arcade boxes?
those are downstairs.
They're downstairs. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah,
I gotta come over sometime.
You ain't that far, man. 45-minute flight.
Is that what it is? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, from Vegas to Burbank.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's do it. I'm up for it. My wife and I will come up and hit the tables for a little bit in Vegas, and then have this dinner at Tre Mosley's house.
Just find a babysitter, and because we don't need no witnesses.
No, that's
And,
okay. That's okay. That's okay.
And we can make it a thing.
Yes.
Tell the folks how to reach you, man, where they can find you on the socials and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, so I'm at Real Voice Bender on IG. I'm also the actual Atticus Batacan _ Atticus Batacan on IG as well. I'm on Facebook. Yeah.
So it's Batacan.
Yes, it's Batacan. I've been just giving you a little bit of that. That's okay. And you know what? There are so many ways. There's so many ways to say my name. I picked
This
one.
show is over.
Creative. So it's all good. It's
That's
all
okay,
good, man.
because you're educating me,
That's right.
and I'm gonna be a better man for it. I promise.
You already are.
The next time we chat, I'm gonna learn 3 phrases.
You're gonna teach me something in Tagalog.
Tagalog.
So, yeah.
Aha! What do you know about that?
Look at that. He said it right.
That's right. Okay.
Oh yeah, Atticus V1 on Twitter or X. Sorry,
It's still Twitter. So
Yeah, exactly. It's still Twitter. But yeah, those are where you can find me. Those are the places.
all right.
I can't hide.
Well, I would say his name again, but I'm not gonna. I am Tre Mosley, and this
He is Tre Mosley.
was formerly Atticus Batacan, but it sounds like a cool robot.
I do love the way you said that. Batacan is actually one of my favorite ways to be saying my name.
See, it's
the wrong way.
A very noble warrior. I am Atticus Batacan. Something like that.
It has been said that way in the past, and
it's
it's a complete. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. But it's Batacan.
And thank y'all for tuning in to Tre Screws His Name Up. And
it was fun, sir. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It was good. Atticus Batacan, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see y'all next time. And I'll get his name right, I promise.
You will.
Later. Thanks for listening to the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley podcast, part of the Titan Media Network. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcast. To see the video version of this, you can find us on YouTube on the Take Time Out with Tre Mosley YouTube page. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. Either way, we'll see you next time.